But yeah, that whole idea of, I'm always trying to escalate the dialogue, and as I escalate the dialogue, I apologize for the mistakes that I didn't consider this, because it's really important that the people who are listening, that you are authentic. The importance of being authentic. It's funny how you say, I'm kind of a dirtbag, and nobody says that about you.
Well, when it comes to women, I think I'm a little bit.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah,
I don't.
I never lie though. That's the thing. I would never lie.
That's not being a dirtbag.
Right.
It's the fact that you. I mean, look, if you know how to fly fish, you know what lure to use.
And it's funny, like I got in shit the other day because I was talking about simple mathematics, like with dating a girl, right? I know if I fly a girl to the Caribbean for the weekend, there's a 90% chance of fucking her for the weekend, like the whole weekend.
Right.
So I belong to a website called cheapcaribbean.com where every once in a while you get these crazy deals, like $300 for the weekend if you fly next weekend.
Right.
You know? And do I look at myself and say, do I take this girl out 4 or 5 times, Ubers and drinks, or just fly her to the Caribbean for the weekend, and then we've escalated from a month of courtship to just, boom, it's happening that weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just mathematically, it actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier. And then there's no question.
Yeah.
And so all the time I'm on several different websites that get you super
also,
cheap
you're
deals.
lucky you have that you could have a lifestyle where you can.
Yeah.
You could just be like, fuck it, I'm going to the Caribbean this weekend. But you've earned that.
Patrice used to have this thing he would call it $300 sucka budget. Like he would go into Philly and he would run up to a girl in the mall and he'd say, "Hey, listen, I like you and I'm only here for a weekend." He goes, like, let me just ask you a question, and then he goes, in order to fuck you, how much would I have, what would we have to do?
Right.
Then he goes, maybe a dinner, 2 dinners, maybe you come to the show, and maybe I, get you a little, maybe we go out to eat, maybe I get you a little gift or something like that, and then maybe by Sunday we end up fucking. He goes, what about if I give you the cash now?
Right, yeah.
And we move, and he would negotiate.
How did that work? How often did that work?
It worked a lot. So if the girl said, well, dinner and maybe a movie, if you could have that they would have that conversation.
It's funny.
Does it do it? I'm trying to see a situation where it doesn't end with, at least it doesn't start with, there has to be a defense, right? Of what kind of
woman do you think I am? But he goes,
you just plow through that.
Well,
but he always had
say, well, we've established that because I'm asking you the question.
Right. Well, what he would do is he would just go, I'm just saying, don't be offended. I'm just saying
you're a prostitute.
I'm not saying we even go there. I'm just saying, what would it? And then the girl will go, I don't know, maybe $150, $180 and time and spent. And he goes, and then he would go, I'll give you $300. We jump. So now you got $120 more. Right. She goes, I'm in.
Well, I've often wondered, I bet you 90, I mean, it depends on, again, to go back to what I said before, if it's a girl you want to date or a girl you want to fuck. I've often wondered if you want to pick up a girl somewhere, it's your second date, you've met coffee, you go into her house to pick her up, the door opens, she says, look, you could take me out to dinner, buy me drinks, spend the whole night together. You're probably going to spend $200, or just give me the $200, you can fuck me right now. I really wonder how many guys would just say, all right, fuck it, here's the $200, let's just go fuck.
I don't know if I'd dig that.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know
if I would dig that.
I mean, I think at that point, then I'm like, all right, well, this girl, I'm just going to fuck her the one time because she's a prostitute.
Here's the thing.
But I still might say yes.
Here's the thing, and as much as, you talk about Patrice used to talk about that pimp shit. And I would always say that pimp culture is it's probably more conservative than any other culture. The archetypes in that.
Conservative in what sense?
Conservative in that it's never
Voting
changed.
Republican? GOP?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's never changed. The guy who gets the guy who pays the prostitute is the John. And the chick who sells her pussy is the prostitute, and the dude who gets the money from her is the pimp. And that
dynamic has never changed.
It's never changed. So here's the thing: you can't be like pimp this, pimp that, and then you're putting out you're offering $300. So
Right.
whether you call it a sucker budget or not, you still tricking.
Right.
So so you can't be like I'm pimping, but you're really tricking. You're either tricking or you're pimping.
Right.
You can't do both. So it's so I like when you talk about girls like, look, just give me the $200 and you can fuck me. I'm gonna go right away. I'm gonna go. You know what? I think I can fuck her for free.
I'm saying, but I just am curious. Like, look, it's never happened.
I
think most men would just say, "Fuck it." It's just so much easier.
90% of the guys would do that anyway.
And especially, I would almost admire her pragmatic, approach to the whole thing.
Well, it's also a situation where a guy would go, "Look, I could." Like she's not I guess he would assume she's not a prostitute, which that's arguable.
Right.
But he goes, well, I could spend this $200 and end up with nothing.
Right. And then that's the other thing that I've had this discussion. Like, I've dated women. There was a girl I dated for a while. She lived in Brooklyn, but far away. Like, it was a good hour-and-a-half train ride or a 30-minute Uber, right? She would only fuck me if I sent an Uber. She didn't want to take 3 hours in trains to come see me.
Right.
So at one point, if I'm paying for that Uber to bring you to me every time,
right,
it's kind of prostitution. You know, I mean, it really is what it is.
In a way.
In a way. There was one girl who we'd never hang out, just come over and have sex. She would always say, let's go to dinner, and then we'd come home and have sex.
Right.
To me, that's kind of prostitution.
Well, I think there has to be that one for them, especially. There has to be that one little barrier, whatever it is.
Right. It's their way of rationalizing.
It's not even cash.
Right. Exactly.
It's just. These are Canadian dollars. That doesn't count.
And at what point? And also, I think a lot of it has to do with like your financial place in the world. Like,
sure. Yeah.
If you are worth $10 million and a girl wants you to spend a $20 Uber. You're like, what's fucking $20 to me?
Right.
So to you, it's irrelevant. So I think if you were only worth $50 and the girl wants you to give $20, well, you're like, fuck that. That's almost half my wealth.
Well, I had a girl that I actually dated for a while. She was a call girl, and she goes, I'm really falling for you. I really love you, and I feel like I only want you to fuck me in the ass. From now on. So in her mind, she had compartmentalized that her ass was personal, but her pussy wasn't. And
that's crazy.
And I was in my 20s, so I was like, yeah, okay. But then even after that, I was like, I want some pussy too.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, it's just, I wanted you to, it's supposed to be personal with you. And I'm like, just fucking, whatever gets you to sleep at
Everybody
night.
makes their own internal decisions that feels right to them.
Yeah, the deals.
I've dated many a woman with what I would call questionable income streams, where they're not open about it, but they seem to certainly travel an awful lot, and you wonder. So I just, I have the...
Your passport has a lot of stamps on it.
For a girl that I have no idea what you do for a living, you certainly travel a lot.
And you didn't finish college, huh?
So
That's very odd.
And you're a waitress?
Yeah, exactly. And I just think I'm part of that don't ask, don't tell policy. If I don't, it doesn't make a difference to me if that's what you're doing on the side. So what do I care?
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right. Is there any, have you ever had any like hard limits on something?
I like to believe that I'm open-minded with everything.
With everything,
I think there's, as long as both parties involved are happy.
No.
That would be no. All right, so he has fucked a girl with one or no legs.
One time I said no in my life. I was really, it's like 10 years ago, and I was so into this girl, and she wanted to have me put on stockings and fuck me in the ass. I said no to that. Couldn't do it.
Well, quitter. No, that's a fair line.
Yeah,
I would gather.
You don't part of me bothered me that I couldn't get past it.
Like,
maybe I'd love it. I don't know.
That's the part of you that does. You're like, I'm supposed to be open-minded.
Yeah.
Like
I'm supposed to be hippy dippy Ralph Sutton over here.
He said open-minded, not open ass.
Yeah, that's true.